All right, I think we're going to get started. We have a lot of information to throw at you. Just so you know, all of the information we're going to present tonight is being recorded. It will also be posted on the website. Most of the information is on our website. We're just in transition right now, moving from one web carrier to another, and so a lot of the information is in shuffle. So if you can't find something, just let us know and we'll get that information to you. Welcome to South Valley Leadership Academy's Orientation and Registration Night. We're so glad that you joined us, current members and new. We're going to just kind of go through some basics of what South Valley Leadership is about, and feel free to ask a question if you need to, but we will have some Q&A at the end. First of all, my name is Amanda Hansen, and I am the founder and chair here at South Valley Leadership Academy. I came from St. George, Utah, where my family and I have been living for the last 18 years. We moved up here almost 3 years ago. We've been homeschooling pretty much for 18 years. My daughter's graduating this year, my first one. And we have been doing TJ Ed along the way. We've been part of Commonwealths, we've been part of private schools, Montessori schools. My husband is a public school teacher and administrator. We have a lot of education in our family. I ran a Commonwealth in St. George for a few years, and before moving here, came up here hoping to find something comparable, but didn't have any options for my older teens, and found there was a lot of families who were in the same boat. So that's what started South Valley Leadership Academy. I'd like to introduce our board members that are here. We don't have everyone here, but I'll go ahead and have them stand just so you can recognize the leaders. I'm the chairman, and next year we will have Amy Olson as our vice chair. She is not here tonight. She's with a client. She is a midwife, and they're having some problems with the client, so she's with them tonight. Our mentor rep for next year will be Andrea Briggs. She's been serving as our vice chair this year. And our parent rep is Corey Garrison. And our secretary is Anna Marie Reed. Our treasurer is Cassie Carnes. And we have one more member of the board, which is our community director, Monica Carpentier, who is not here yet, so she'll be here a little bit later. We have other leadership positions. If you're here, please stand. I'm just going to recognize you too, so everyone knows who you are. Our registrar is Jackie Ward. I haven't seen her come. Youth council mentors Marianne and Soraya Hurd. I saw Soraya. Oh, there you are. And junior youth council Janice Spencer and Monica Carpentier, who will be here later. Our service project coordinator is also Janice, and our temple trip coordinator is Rachel House. Awesome, fantastic. All right. Beth, would you mind just letting the kids in the hall know that they can go downstairs? And thank you. All right. South Valley Leadership Academy is a community of homeschooling families who come together for shared educational experiences. We're based on a leadership education model, the principles found in a Thomas Jefferson education, founded by Oliver DeMille. We provide a quality experience that will assist youth in gaining vision, skills, and abilities specific to their phases of learning and inspire them in their personal life mission. We honor each individual as a steward of their own education and seek to support, not replace, the family as the center of education and learning. Our mission is to grow leaders, leaders who love learning, leaders who pay the price of greatness, embody a moral foundation of virtue, compassion, truth, liberty, and courage, and positively impact the world for good. We have a standards of excellence here at SVLA of quality and responsibility and hard work. We try to teach these things, uphold them in the scholar community, and at our scholar school. We're going to talk a little bit more later about our choose-in policy, but just as an overview, if you're choosing in, you're choosing to the work. So that's kind of our motto around here. If you're choosing in, you're choosing into the work. Yeah, you can bring that up. We're going to put it over here on the stand. Thank you. This is my husband, Jason. He's our techie tonight. All right. How many of you are not very familiar with the Thomas Jefferson Education or the principles found in the Thomas Jefferson Education book? Is anybody not familiar with those? Okay, I'm going to skip that part then. In order to register with South Valley Leadership Academy, we ask all of our families to read the Thomas Jefferson Education book by Oliver DeMille, so we're all on the same page and understand what Scholar Phase is all about. That's what we're trying to do, is help our students to become scholars and choose into their own education and work for it. So if you have any questions about that later, you can find us, or you can read more about that in the book. We are asking that our scholars that are 14 plus, how many of you are going to be a scholar 14 plus? I know there's some of you in the room. I see your hands, good. You guys are going to be reading this book over the summer, right? By the time we start classes next semester, we're going to have a discussion about that book with our scholars. SVLA focuses on the scholar phase. The phases of learning go through core phase, into a love of learning phase, and then into scholar phase. And we focus mostly on scholar phase. However, this last year, we added lots of classes for our love of learning and practice scholar phase. And next year, we're adding a program for all ages. So we'll talk a little bit more about how that's going to happen. Our scholar projects are project-based classes. They focus on scholar skills: thinking, speaking, writing, computing, and reading. Most of the projects that are in the morning, that are before lunch, are considered the projects, and they are integrated learning. Most of the time they'll have integrated studies of several subjects, and they will cover a lot of different topics, as well as require a lot of outside work. Classes that are held after lunch are considered enrichment classes. That doesn't mean there's no homework, it just means that there's less homework and the class is only 1 hour long. And also our enrichment block will be open to other homeschooling families with an associate membership, which will be discussed a little bit more later as well. Please be mindful of the readiness of your student before signing up for scholar projects. If your student registers for a class that the mentor feels they're not ready for, they may be asked to withdraw and choose another project. We also ask that parents do not force a student into a class. We really want to teach our students to be responsible for their own education, to own it, and they're going to buy in a lot more if they choose it. So parents, try to encourage them, but don't force them into a class. It's their education, not yours. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the time over to Andrea Briggs for a few minutes. She's going to talk about mentoring in classes.
So here at SVLA we have some different kinds of mentors. A lot of our mentors are volunteer parents, but we also have paid mentors from our community. This year we have quite a bit more paid mentors than we did last year, so we're really excited about that. We ask everyone that's a part of our community to look for classes that they are taking or would like to take from professional mentors around the area that will come and ask them. Just say, will you come and teach for our students? We have a whole bunch of students and they all meet on this one day, or different this day or this day, and we would love for you to come and teach for us. And that's how we get great mentors here, is we ask them. And it's worked out really, really well so far. And we're excited to continue and keep building the relationships with communities. Our first priority for a mentor is that you, as a mentor, love what you do, and that you want to share your passion with those that will come and take your class. We are dedicated to a structure of homeschool support. What this means is we will never be a school that is going to offer everything you need for, say, high school graduation or all the subjects. We are not at all concerned about making sure that we fill all requirements or fill all subjects. That is not our purpose. Our purpose is to find great mentors who love what they do and that can share their passion with our youth. That is our purpose. And to go along with that purpose of a homeschool support, it's important to be mindful of how often we hold classes. Almost all of our classes, in fact, all but one, all of our classes are 1 day a week. And what that means is the scholar, or even the practice scholar, or even the youth, is doing most of their work at home, is studying, and is thinking, and is preparing at home. Most of their education time is either on their own, or talking to their parents, or outside of class talking. The classroom is 1 hour, or 2 hours, and that's, I've taught for a lot of years now, and 1 hour just flies by so fast. You can accomplish, you have to be very careful with what you do with that 1 hour. Because there are some things that students can't do at home, that these kids, and why we're doing this is because they can't do some things at home. They can't learn certain skills, which is why we have lots of great enrichment classes to teach specific skills. And they can't have a great group discussion with just them, maybe them and mom or something. That just is not the same as a fantastic class with a great mentor leading a great discussion. So there is a wonderful, wonderful place for these once-a-week classes. But just be aware, as a mentor and as a parent, that it is not fulfilling the educational need of your student. And most of these classes, so we have, the schedule is out on the table right outside the door. Like Amanda said, our focus really is these older scholars. That's why we're doing this. Everything else that we add in, all these, the younger day that we're adding in, and even the junior day that we're adding in, is for the purpose of building that scholar day. That is really our driving purpose, and that's the need that we as the leadership have to fill. So what we've tried to accomplish for this coming up year is some harder classes, really high school rigorous classes for our youth. And so please be aware as you register, mostly scholars, because we're asking you to choose the classes, is that almost all of them on Monday and Wednesday morning, the ones we are calling our scholar projects, require a lot of outside work, because that's where the magic is. That's where your education comes, is your preparation, is your self-motivation, is your pushing, is your preparing for these classes. The classes have been just magical for my kids because deadlines are amazing. And they are super helpful to have a deadline, to have something to work forward to have somebody outside the home to be checking up on you. They are so helpful, but the work happens mostly on your own. So I just want you to keep that in mind as you think about offering a class, which we ask everyone to think about it at least, because everyone has a passion and something that they can share. So the only other things I wanted to make sure and cover is that, well, to go along with that, is that we believe, going along with that leadership education model, that a mentor, well, we call them mentors because the teacher teaches, is trying to get the student to get information into their head, whereas a mentor presents material, inspires students, makes an environment that is inviting and that is scholarly, that is helps hold the students accountable. But the only way for a student, a scholar, a youth, for any of us really, to gain an education is for them to gain the education. It's really up to them, and that's the environment that we want to foster, especially as mentors. So we ask you as mentors to do this, to make this great environment, to make sure that you will also uphold and support the SVLA mission and vision. If you feel like you don't know what that is, please find out. It's posted on our website, or please talk to the board and talk to us about what we are envisioning for this group. We ask you to promote leadership and scholar phase. Again, those are upholding principles, and we ask you that you know what those mean. Please read the book, Thomas Jefferson Education, so we can have a common vision. It is important to us that the mentor owns their own class. That means they take care of their own fees and their payment policies. They set the requirements, and a lot of our mentors have been able to set kind of a graded requirement, so scholars can choose into what they're ready for and have the mentor help them be accountable at the level they're ready. Some classes can't do that very well, but it's worth talking to a mentor if you have special, I don't know, talk to your mentors. They're great. So mentors also, they set their class sizes and they need to discipline their class, and the board is here to support with all of those, especially with keeping families accountable, especially for fees. So we are going to be more kind of in-your-face mentors this year about making sure class fees are paid, because we don't want a culture where it's okay to just not pay your class fee. That doesn't feel like a responsible leadership kind of attitude, so we are going to make sure that you're reporting to us that class fees are paid, and there are some tools that we can use on the website as well to help you. So as you own your own class, we hope that you as mentors and you as parents will come to the board so that we can have that balance between the mentors owning their class and having a common vision for our group, and so we can have common ideals and what was it, the expectations, but just the standards that we're trying to set, and accountability and responsibility, really having an exceptional scholar school. So that's always a balance, and we ask you to work with us, and let's be a team together to accomplish that. And now we're going to hear from Corey Garrettson, our parent representative. Hi. One thing that we are hoping now to do is to share some encouragement for and a small reminder of part of the vision that she was talking about, which that part, let me, so one of the 7 keys in the TJ Ed book is you, not them. So I was going to talk a little bit about that and read this little part. It says, this is for the parents, set the example. The best mentors are continually learning and pushing themselves. Read the classics, study hard. This allows you to take the agency approach to teaching, to let your students have a say in what they study next. What are we going, oh, this is an example conversation. What are we going to do today, son? What's our next classic? Well, I've been thinking about blank. Okay, I'll commit to study it, ponder it, think about it, and we'll discuss it. Then study hard, pay the price in your own study, and require quality work from your students. A great mentor is not only one who gives assignments, but also one who accepts them, and thereby allows the student to begin practicing leadership. A key part of setting the example is letting the students take the lead as often as possible. Free choice is an essential part of learning to think. So let's see, Thomas Jefferson's mentor, George Wythe, is it Wythe? I always forget how to pronounce it. George Wythe studied as hard as Jefferson, and Jefferson contacted him with questions and for help through his whole life until he passed away. In our modern society, whenever education is a subject, we always want to talk about the kids. We care about them and we know their education is important, but we also find that it's easier to talk about their education than to improve our own. In reality, you are unlikely to pass on to your children a better education than you have earned yourself, no matter how much you push them or how good the teachers are in their private school. Children tend to rise to the educational level of their parents and maybe a little above if their parents have shown them that this is important. The most effective way to ensure the quality of their education is to consistently improve your own. The beauty of this self-evident truth is that you don't have to be all that far ahead of them to effectively lead out. They can even pass you up once you're firmly on a committed path of self-education. Your trajectory will propel them. Just make the commitment and lead out. You be the lever that moves their world. When you're setting the example, learning lessons and sharing them, you will be doing the most important thing you can to improve your children's education. This is equally true of parents and teachers. So that's just a little part of our vision that we have as parents, that we can kind of connect with that and maybe catch that vision together to help our scholars. Now I'm going to just switch over and go over the member responsibilities that we have. Okay, so we have four things here. The first one is pay the semester family fee, which is $67 right now. The next one is volunteer hours. Do 5 volunteer hours per scholar that you have, or per child, per student, and with a max of 10. So if you have more than 2 students, you have to just do a max of 10 hours and no more. The next one is fulfill 1 setup or cleanup assignment per semester. And the last one is attendance at 1 monthly parent council per semester. We have member benefits that are access to all of our programs, projects, and enrichment classes within SVLA, socials and activities for community and students, which we have lots of fun along with our scholarly activities. Monthly parent council, retreats for parents and scholars, training and mentoring for parents and students, awesome community, and registration before new members. We have an associate member option also, and the associate member responsibilities are to pay $20 for their student registration fee per semester. All students, and also all students at the end of the day that are here, are responsible for helping to clean up and to have a cleaning assignment. And the associate member benefits are access to all SVLA enrichment classes as available after the member registration, and then monthly parent councils, and end of semester showcase and awards assemblies. That's all. Council.
All right, we're going to invite our youth council up here. Abby, you guys ready? They're going to talk about what it means to be a scholar and how to choose classes.
Hi, I'm Abby Briggs, and should I just say what I'm doing? Okay. I'm going to be vice president, wow. Vice president for this year, and I'm going to talk about scholar contracts and the work, not like the school work, but other work that students should be willing to put in. So the contract is literally just a reminder, not really a reminder, it's a contract, that the student will be willing to put in the work that of the classes that they're choosing. And it's a reminder to be respectful of yourself and the property and the people around you here at SVLA and to really have that good environment that we're looking for. Students also need to be willing to clean up at the end of the day. If they are staying till the end, they should be willing to clean up. And especially whatever class that they have at the end of the day, they should clean up that room before they leave and make sure that it is completely clean. And that is what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about what is the practice scholar phase, because I know we've all heard that there's like the love of learning, there's core phase, there's practice scholar, there's scholar, an apprentice scholar, all these different things. But my topic is what is the practice scholar. So it's like the love of learning, where you're excited to learn, you're ready to learn, but every now and then you want to actually put forth more scholarly efforts, as in putting forth extra effort and just a desire to do harder things and more work and ready to be in a class with their peers. It's also being ready to listen to mentors and be more responsible for your own learning. That's just a basic overview of what the practice scholar phase is.
Alright, so I am speaking on scholar phase. Scholar phase happens, I believe, after practice scholar. And scholar phase is when you're ready to put in the work. You're ready to start taking your education into your own hands. You are going to be working on more difficult classes. You're going to have to commit a lot more time towards your education and really just branch out.
So what I'm talking about is choosing a class. So don't choose a class because your friends are in it. That's a good thing. Like, don't not choose a class. Like, oh, my friend's in that, I'm not choosing that one. But like, don't only choose a class because your friends are in it. And if you pick a class and go, hey, I'm going to pick this class, it sounds cool, it's 3D animation, and then you don't do any of the work, that's not good. If you sign up for a class, then you've got to do the work. Because if you don't do the work, then you're not going to get as much out of it, and it's not as much fun for everybody else. Because if there's someone in the class, they never do their assignments, and then maybe you build a world or something, and then they haven't worked on their section, so it's not completed, and it's not going to be as awesome. So if you sign up for a class, do the work.
Everybody give a hand to this awesome youth council. So youth council does a lot. I just figured I'd put a plug in for youth council. Our youth council plans monthly or more than monthly activities quite often. They do temple trips, service projects. They just got back from a Manti all-day temple trip, which was fantastic. We had about 30 kids go. We do a lot of fun together. We do a scholar retreat, which they're in the middle of planning, coming up in August. It's going to be a blast. It's usually a 2-day event overnight. We have a lot of fun doing that. We're expecting to have probably 80 to 90 kids involved this year, so really exciting stuff. So thanks again, guys. All right. I'm going to turn the time over for just a minute to Emily Sweetston. She's been our mentor rep this year. She's put in so much work, and now she's taking on a new position as fundraising coordinator. We just have a lot of needs, and we want to keep the cost as low as possible for our families because we all know that it's hard, right? It's all coming out of our pockets. So we try to keep the costs low. Emily's going to be heading up a lot of fundraising opportunities that will help keep our activities low to free, provide opportunities for more experiences for our scholars, and hopefully to eventually subsidize some of our mentors.
First off, thank you to all who have participated in the pizza fundraisers that we've been doing the last month or so. I think we brought in about $800 that we could use for retreat. So that's fantastic. That means that the price will go down for everyone. So if we can do that for a few more times so that all of our activities and things can be free, that would be great. That would make it more affordable for all of us to be here. We do have a couple opportunities that are coming up. In July, we will be doing a savers drive. So basically, they will pay us for us to give them our junk. So anyways, yes, clean out your garages. And I realized it's going to be on July 13th, which is a Saturday. If that is too far away for you to save your stuff, like you really need to get out of your house, come put it in my garage, okay? That's fine, I'll save it, then we can weigh it and we'll get paid for it, okay? We'll be doing several other fundraisers throughout the year, and the purpose of these, again, it's not so that you are paying more. We don't want you to be putting tons of funds into this. This is for us to draw on outside funds. So some of that, we're going to be approaching businesses to get funding from them so that they can get tax write-offs for that. And we'll also be looking at things like signing up with Smiths. Several of you did the Smiths program this year, and even though it doesn't bring in a ton, it does bring in an extra $100 that we can use for activities and other things we're doing. Yeah,
All right, I'm taking Amy Olson's place tonight. Again, she's off with a client. She's a midwife and she had an emergency. So Amy Olson will be our new vice chair, but I'm going to be covering all of her stuff. First of all, the choose in policy. At SVLA, everything is choose in or just choose out. There's no force here. So everything is optional. You can choose in or choose out. But if you choose in, we ask that you choose in and do your part. Programs, classes, activities are all choose in. Choose what works for you and commit to what you choose. Registration. In order to register, you need to attend an orientation, which you're here tonight. You can check that off of your list. This will be posted on the website for others to watch. Interview with our parent rep. We do a short interview just to make sure that you don't have any questions and we know who you are. And so you'll be visiting with Corey. Corey, raise your hand again. She's our parent rep. Pay your fees, which you can now do online on our new website, and more information will be coming about that. And then read your Thomas Jefferson education book. At the Scholar School, those who wish to attend the Scholar Projects. These projects are the ones, again, Monday and Wednesday morning. These require a lot of outside work and a lot of commitment, and we want a certain level of expectation. So we've done scholar interviews for those who want to participate in those projects. We ask that you do an interview with the board and fill out your scholar application online. If you need information about that, you can catch us after. Our schedule for fall 2019. This is kind of the big moment. This is where we're moving on to new and exciting things, and there's a lot of stuff, so I'm going to just kind of walk through this really fast. Most of this information is online, but this year we've had 1 day of classes. Next year we're moving to 3. And just to explain how that's going to work, on Mondays we will have a junior program. Our junior program is for students that are K through 6th or 8th grade. This is going to be run through Canyon Grove Charter School. The way this works, and this again is a total, it's just an option. We wanted to have our own junior program, but nobody really wants to teach and provide that kind of opportunity. So we asked Canyon Grove if they would bring their distance program to us, and they were certainly willing to do that. How that works is 1 day a week, so on Monday, they will be hiring several of our moms. Raise your hand, moms, if you're one of our teachers. We have a few. Awesome. A couple of our Canyon Grove teachers, and they'll be hired by Canyon Grove. They'll be paying them to teach our young children, and it will only be our community. We are not opening that up to outside people. We have enough junior students within our community to provide these classes. These classes, are they called Epic Day? I think they still are. Epic Day is on Monday, and that will run from about 9 to 2:30. They will have integrated science, history, and art. And that's all provided here at our SVLA building by our moms who are being hired by Canyon Grove. They also have a lot of other opportunities through Canyon Grove. They have a resource library for everyone that's signed up. You can go to their facility in Pleasant Grove. They have a huge library full of boxes on almost any subject. It has all of the stuff you need, books, materials, everything you need to study rocks, to do magic tricks, to learn about animals, and anything your kids are interested in. It's a huge resource library. They also will provide you with whatever curriculum you choose, as long as it's not religious based. They will provide you with any other curriculum that you need, including books. If your student wants to read Harry Potter for their language arts this year, they'll buy you the whole series. They'll provide you a laptop for your student. They also do weekly field trips. Every single Friday there's a field trip. Not all of them are covered under their stuff. Sometimes you have to pay a small fee, but it's usually like under $10 a person since we're going with a large group. We will have an education specialist that will be here at our building and part of our community. And they will be the person that you check in with once a month. You just check in with them and let them know what you're doing with your students at home. You do a once a month quick check-in. You can do that via phone, person, email, however that needs to happen. And then the big question is always testing. They do NWEA testing. This testing is not like your state standards testing, and if you have more questions about that, we're going to have more information online, but it is optional as always. However, they do highly encourage it. You get the results and the teacher gets results. It doesn't really matter what the results are. This just gauges where your students are at in each of their learning so that you can better provide what they need. So that's just an option for our junior students, and that's on Monday. As well, also on Monday, is our Scholar Project morning. And we are going to be providing a seminary class that will be held Monday and Wednesday here at our building from 7 to 8:30, and that class is open to anyone who wants to join us. Any homeschoolers are welcome to come and join our seminary class. We do not have a teacher yet. We're working on that. Our class will be run through West Jordan High. So if you need to register your student for seminary, you will register for West Jordan Seminary, and their president will oversee our class. We're hoping that our teacher will come from within our community. We have several people that are qualified to do that. So that will be Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 8:30. After that, we are having a section called SVLA. This is a gift. This is a gift of time. And I know the students are super excited about this. SVLA is a word that school and scholar came from. And what it actually means is leisure. And back in the day, when people would SVLA, they would sit around and discuss ideas. And that was considered scholarly. And now, because we've overstructured education to a point that there is no time to think and no time to discuss, and there's very little thinking and discussing going on in today's school and learning, that we are providing this opportunity here. Mentors will be here to discuss and to think about ideas with these students. The main rule will be all phones will be put in a basket and outside of the room, and everyone can come in and visit and enjoy the time. We're going to be discussing ideas, solving problems, and I told the students that if they come up with a plan and they want to do something like a project or they want to create a club, that they're welcome to do this, but this is a gift of time. So we're really excited about this SVLA. And then after SVLA, there will be several projects offered for the 14 plus scholars, and after lunch will be some enrichment block opportunities, and those will be open to everyone. So any homeschooler that wants to come and be an associate member will also be able to sign up for enrichment classes on Monday after lunch. They'll also be open to Canyon Grove students, and Canyon Grove will be paying those teachers. So if you're a Canyon Grove student, they'll be paid for. And then if you're not, but you're in SVLA and want to take some of those classes, they're open to you as well. All right, that's Monday. Tuesday is our Practice Scholar Day. Our Practice Scholar Day looks a lot like it did this year, only all of the classes are geared for the Practice Scholar phase, which they talked about a little bit before. That's a love of learning phase, where they're not quite ready to pitch in and do the 10 or 12 hours a week on their own, but they're really anxious to be in a class with a mentor and do hard things, and they really want to do more than just play around the house all day or, doing those core and love of learning activities with their mom. They're kind of done finger painting, and they're ready to do a little more. So Practice Scholar phase is a lot of fun. Tuesday is open for 10 and up. And the way we're doing this is, if your student is turning 10 in the school year, they can choose into Tuesday projects. And then same goes for Wednesday with your 14 plus. If your student is turning 14 in the next school year, 2019-20, they can choose into the Scholar projects if they feel they're ready. Be mindful of their readiness. Just because of their age, they turn a certain age does not mean that they're ready. So please be mindful of your students' readiness. And if they're not quite ready to choose into those really hard classes on Wednesday, have them choose in on Tuesday. We will have students there on Tuesday, 10 to 18. I am certain we will have students there all day. Tuesday classes are similar. There are a couple of Tuesday classes that are like 12 and up. They're a little bit older, just because they require a little bit more work. And so Same with Monday and Tuesday as Monday. Anything that's after lunch is considered enrichment, and that will be open to associate memberships. So if you're not part of SVLA but you just want a class and take an art class or just a choir class, you can just pay a $20 registration fee and take that class. So invite your friends if they'd like to come and take 1 or 2 classes. We do have a lot of professional mentors, like Andrea mentioned this year, including Wasatch Speech and Debate, paper airplanes, 3D printing, 3D animation. Several larger classes that need a certain number of students to fill. So we are inviting our friends to come and fill those classes with us. Wednesday is our huge Scholar Day. This is for your 14 and plus older students. The projects in the morning, again, it's supposed to challenge them. It's going to require quite a bit of outside work and a lot of maturity. They need to be able to self-direct and manage their own time. Parents can help to a certain point, but at this point they need to be pretty much owning their education and doing the hard things themselves. So be mindful, don't let them choose into a class they're not ready for. I promise it will backfire. After lunch, all of the classes again are open to associate members and friends and SVLA students that are 14 and older. The schedule is now on the new website. And is that set up for the .com or is that not? We're close. We're super close. In the very near future, if you go to southvalleyleadership.com or southvalleyleadershipacademy.net, it will take you to the new site.
I'll put the new links. I haven't done that yet.
Andrea said she'll get the new link on the old website so you can find the new one. We've switched over to a new server. They're providing lots of opportunities that are going to make everything a lot easier for us, but it will be a little rocky the first few months trying to get that turned over. Okay, I'm going to open this up for a few questions, and then, yes? Yeah, do you want me to do that now, before questions? Okay, we're going to give a couple of minutes to Chris Jones and to talk about Mount Liberty?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Mount Liberty College, and then after that I have some guests here from Williamsburg Academy, Adam and James. They're gonna take a few minutes to just to pitch an idea. Like we're making a connection with Canyon Grove for our younger students. They've also created a support program for older students that are 6th grade through 12th, so they're gonna talk about that for just a minute.
Get my jacket on. This is the scholarly part of my presentation. Okay, so we talk a lot at SVLA about owning your own education, about charting your own path, about looking for the things that you're excited about and collecting as much information and practice about them, giving you opportunities to do that as possible. And then we finish that, we send you off to college, and they don't know anything about that at college. Most colleges exist for the purpose of paying faculty members and building sports facilities. If you don't believe this, investigate. Just type into Google student loan. That's all you got to do. It will fill in the debt part for you and the several trillion dollars that are being collected by our youth as they go off to college. And then they come out of school with a Bachelor of Arts in 17th century French literature and get a job at Starbucks, because that's what you can do with a degree like that. Well, then you have spent $50,000 of someone else's money that they will want back. No matter who gets elected, somebody's going to want that money back. And you have a degree you cannot use, and you didn't learn anything. We propose to at least change some of that equation. When you graduate from Mount Liberty College is a liberal arts college. I know, what does that mean? Are you going to turn my kids into hippies? No. Well, that's up to them. We're going to talk about Aristotle and Plato, and those guys were pretty weird, so you never know what would come out of that. But when you graduate from Mount Liberty College, you will still have a useless degree. Okay? You will still have to go to medical school or law school or whatever to do that kind of a thing. Or 6 or 7 years from now, whenever your child is ready to graduate from college, whatever the jobs are going to be, because we don't know what that is. And I don't think we're ready to confront that as a society. We're training millions of kids right now for jobs that don't exist anymore. or that will not exist very shortly after they graduate from college. That's why they're working at Starbucks. What if we were teaching our kids how to think, how to learn, how to understand the world around them, how to connect with people, so that no matter what the job was that they needed to do, whether it was running a political campaign or a haunted house or selling mutual funds or analyzing the stock market or teaching at SVLA, because those are all things I've done. The resume looks like a train wreck, but the life has been pretty good. That's what we teach kids to do at South Valley Leadership. This is Jennifer Jensen here. She is CEO, President, Queen, Grand High Poobah of the college. I don't even, like, there's just so many titles, I don't even know what they all are. I teach rhetoric there. If you don't know what rhetoric is, that's what I'm doing right now, okay? Some of this is rhetoric. Some of it's just kind of off the cuff, but some of that's rhetoric too, right? Okay? You'll graduate with a degree that you can take to a graduate school. You'll pass the graduate record exam. You'll pass the GRE. You'll get into Harvard if you want to get into Harvard Graduate School. You'll get into Stanford. You'll get into Columbia. How do I know this? Because one of our chief professors is a student, or was a student at Columbia University and at Stanford, has master's degrees and all of those kinds of things, knows what they teach you there, got a degree in education. Then he sat at the dinner table and he taught me how to think. So, my proposition to you is, oh, and there's the other thing, the student debt. We don't take student loans. You cannot go into debt, at least not with a federally guaranteed student loan, at Mount Liberty College. But you don't need to, because a year's tuition is less than $5,000. You can work that. That you can get a job that will pay. You graduate from college with a degree that you can use the same as anybody else's, but you will not be saddled with $30,000 to $50,000 worth of student loan debt. And you will have learned something critical about how to operate in the 21st century. Whatever comes, no matter what the robot overlords tell us to do, you'll be able to do it if you have a degree from this school. We take 20 students in each class that comes in. Our first class will be coming in this fall. We take 20 students. We'll take 20 students next year. We'll take 20 students the year after that. So if you're thinking about this, now's the time to start looking at what would I want to do to go to a school that's really going to teach me those things that could be immensely valuable for the rest of my life, and not just to get a job.
Thanks for letting us come and talk. I actually homeschooled all my kids. My oldest is 30, and my youngest just left on a mission last year. So I just graduated from homeschooling. And so that's why we decided it was time to open a classical liberal arts college here. To do something after you've done the scholar phase that won't set you back and, go back to the normal humdrum. The reason why you're here in the first place, right? To have your kids in and doing something different. I just wanted to tell you a couple things really fast. First of all, there's a really great study. There's actually quite a few, but this is just one really great study that Google did of their employees. They decided to figure out why exactly they liked the employees they liked and why they were moving them on and giving them raises, what was making those employees better than others. And this is Google, mind you. And of their 10 reasons for keeping these employees and really liking these employees, only the last one had anything to do with IT. The rest of them were all classical liberal arts skills. And those would include leadership, ability to work in a team, communication skills, both written and verbal, problem-solving skills, strong work ethic, initiative, analytical and qualitative skills, and flexibility and adaptability, and finally the very last one is technical skills. Pretty interesting, right? And there's a whole big list. You can find all kinds of people online. I don't want to take the time to read, but all kinds of CEOs and COOs and people who started companies all have liberal arts degrees. Just to give you a couple, the Starbucks CEO, HBO CEO, YouTube, Pinterest, Whole Foods, Alibaba, Chipotle, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Facebook. all of these guys, the CEOs, are all liberal arts degrees. Different from the workers who have the tech degrees. And the thing about tech degrees is they're really important. It's really important to learn how to manipulate the world to make it a better place, right? I love my air conditioner, I love my car, I love my dishwasher, I love all those kind of things. They're all really important. And my computer, my phone, I love all of them. They're great. But at the same time, somebody needs to figure out what's the right thing to code. What's the right thing to create? What's the right way to manipulate the world? Because not everything is something that should be done. And that's where we feel like we have a niche here at Mount Liberty College. Our motto is from Benjamin Rush, and it's without virtue there can be no liberty. Founders were really big on 3 things that I call the golden triangle: faith, virtue, and liberty. Every single founder, it didn't matter how religious or how unreligious, all mentioned those 3 things and how important they were, and how important they were to each other. That you can't have liberty without the other 2, you can't have the other 2 without liberty. So that's the kind of thing that we're going to be teaching at Mount Liberty College. So we have some flyers out here on a table. If you have any questions, mountlibertycollege.org is our website. Like Chris said, we're just starting this next year with our first 20 freshmen, and we're going to, each year add another set of freshmen, so we'll be moving up. But if you have any questions, you're welcome to talk to us afterwards or email on the website. There's a place where you can email us, but we'd love to talk to you. And this is the kind of group that we want to pull from. We want students like this. These are the kind that we know will be really great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk to us today about Mount Liberty. If you have more questions, they'll be here after. I'm going to now turn the time over to Williamsburg Academy. This is James and Adam. They are here to just explain something that they are really excited about. This is a supplemental program that they are offering to homeschool communities and families through LAU and through their program. So take it away, James.
Thank you. Thanks, Amanda, for the opportunity. And it's amazing to be at this. The amount of volunteer work that goes in behind the scenes to pull together a group of people like this and create the structure and organization that facilitates this kind of thing is just so inspiring to me. I love seeing these kids up here on the youth committee and the way that they talked and carried themselves. It just is the picture of what happens when students own their own education. 10 years ago, Adam and I were both at a small liberal arts college called George Wythe College, and we actually mentored with a guy, Oliver DeMille, who helped create Thomas Jefferson Education. We co-taught with him, and so that's kind of our roots. We were both homeschooled as kids, and at that time, right after I graduated from law school, Adam had been running businesses. Another friend of ours just graduated with his MBA. We all got together and we said, what are we going to do with our lives? I didn't want to practice law because it was boring, and my friend didn't want to go into corporate MBA, and Adam was in businesses, and there were others involved as well, including someone who had a master's from Harvard in education. And we got together and we said, what do we want to do? Let's build something. Let's do something unique. And so we pretty much have dedicated the last decade to doing that. What we decided to do is to get together and create the types of opportunities and transformational learning experiences that we all would have liked more of when we were homeschooling ourselves as kids back in the 90s. And so that's what we've been doing at Williamsburg Learning. So we created our own curriculum, we created our own entire private school program, and it's been such a beautiful adventure. About 5 years ago, a group of families in Utah came to us and said, hey, we love your stuff, but we can't afford $5,000 a year for your private school tuition. And so they said, can we start a charter school in the state of Utah using your curriculum and have a partnership? And at first I said no, because I'm an attorney, and as an attorney, do I want to get involved in the most bureaucratic, overly regulated industry in the state led by people who tend to have narrow mindsets? No, that doesn't sound fun. No, thank you. But as we investigated the opportunity, what we realized is actually, there's an opportunity for service here. What we realized we could do is create an umbrella under which we could absorb most of the bureaucracy organizationally and create a safe space for parents and students and teachers to engage in meaningful and transformational learning and teaching. And so that's what we decided to do. So that's how we helped to create Leadership Academy of Utah. that entire school, the entire school board that runs that, comes from homeschool families. The director is a homeschool dad, Pete Jensen, some of you probably know him. And together with Williamsburg Learning, our goal has been to create a new offering for families in alternative ed circles like yours, like mine, in the state of Utah, to help increase the quality of education for all of the families like ours. So in the past, how many of you have heard of Leadership Academy of Utah? Okay, so maybe half of you or something. In the past, Leadership Academy of Utah and Williamsburg has always offered the Williamsburg curriculum, and to do a full load is very rigorous, especially for high school. For middle school, it's more project-based, more love of learning. But what we've discovered is that we ended up competing with co-ops. And that was the exact opposite of what we wanted to do when we started. We don't want to compete. What we want to do is serve our people, serve our tribe. And so it's been now 2 years, and this year what we decided to do with LAU is to get together and create something fundamentally different. And so instead of doing a full online program, which is still an option, we created something called a supplemental program. And the whole thing was created after talking to hundreds of families like yours, co-op leaders, and homeschool parents. And the big takeaway for us was, oh my gosh, there's so many high-quality resources and learning experiences already happening in these circles. We don't want to compete with that. What do we have to bring to the table? Well, we have a full, rigorous academic program that can kind of fill in the gaps, and we can create new transformational learning experiences that put fundamentally new experiences on the table, and we can create some of the flexible funding options that students and parents now get through organizations like My Tech High. And so what we want to share with you today is a fundamentally new value proposition to families in the state that increases flexibility and increases new ways that you can supplement what you're already doing, not competing. Since we put this on the table, we've already had several hundred new families from co-ops sign up for it, because I think you'll see that the value proposition is just fundamentally new. And that's why I think Amanda was willing to give us a few minutes of your time tonight. So I'm going to turn the time to Adam to share some about that.
Great. Okay, thanks so much, James. All right, if you would, we just passed this out. If you would look at this page, this side, flip it over. I'm going to walk you through this really quickly. So to participate in our program, traditionally we've had a full-time program, like James was saying, but we don't want to compete with co-ops, right? So instead what we've done is created a supplementary program. That program is basically where you, box one, if you look right here, box one, where you participate in any two of our core courses per semester, including science, leadership, math, language arts, and social studies if they're high school age, or STEM, leadership, humanities, or math if they're middle school age. So you select two of those. The idea behind that is we want to let you, every co-op is a bit different in what they offer and what they do, so we want to let you kind of fill in gaps with those core courses where you're doing certain things with the co-ops and then you're doing certain things with us. Then if you're a middle schooler, or if you have middle schoolers, or if you have high schoolers, 2 bonus courses, so that's in box 2, the next box down. 2 bonus courses for middle school, or 3 bonus courses for high school. And that includes a funded elective. So how many of you have kids that take like piano or karate or something from an instructor in your community? So we will pay for that up to $300 per semester, $600 a year. Does that make sense? Also, we do an outdoor adventures course on Fridays. So has anyone here heard of our Elevation program? So that's just a dynamic, awesome camp that we do. We're essentially doing the same type of thing, but we're spreading it out throughout the semester on Fridays. So everything from hiking and rock climbing and first aid and
Stand-up paddleboard.
Yeah, stand-up paddling, yeah, kayaking, just lots of just awesome fun activities that fit for within the program as well. So you can sign up for that. That's on Fridays, usually about a 2 to 4 hours, sometimes a little bit longer type activities on Fridays. We're also doing an ILC, what we call an Innovative Learning Center. Jason Hansen over here is the leader of our new Innovative Learning Center down at the Canyon Grove facility in Pleasant Grove, Utah. So if you're willing to make the drive, or if there's enough students from the area, we'd set up a bus. But we're creating that program to where you can take electives there, and if you go back up to box 1, you can take science and leadership, or STEM and leadership in middle school, the ones with the asterisks in box 1. You can take those at the Innovative Learning Center and do them in person as opposed to online. So it's kind of up to you whether you prefer online or in person. You can also take our elevation course, so back to box 2, kind of going down the list there. You can take our elevation outdoor course. That's a week-long awesome camp. We literally have 80 kids down in the canyon right now doing rock climbing, doing all sorts of leadership things. It's just an amazing transformational experience for them. So that's part of it. That's like generally about $500 to do that, but LAU or Leadership Academy of Utah pays for that as part of this program. You can do online electives with us. We have tons of online electives like coding and fashion design and all sorts of things that they can take. Live online courses with us from the Williamsburg program, additional independent courses. So if you're doing other independent courses in the community, you can make that part of your 5 total or 4 total. And finally, any other Williamsburg Learning course taught or offered by LAU. Then going to the third box real quick, you can get additional resources, meaning you can get a laptop paid for, all books and materials and that you would need for your above courses. So what we're really trying to do is we're trying to take funding that is essentially coming from you anyway, right, your tax dollars, and instead of channeling maybe $1,100 or $1,300 or something like that to you, which is not a lot and doesn't really represent how much money actually should be following the student, we're trying to funnel more value to you and your families. So if you look at box 4 down there in the black, you can see kind of the total range of values. And the reason why we're doing that is we're trying to be transparent with you about really how much funding would be going to your children in this program to support their educational process. And again, this is a supplemental program designed specifically for families that do co-ops so that you can use this program to fill in some gaps and increase the overall educational experience for your child. So you get all of that funding that goes to your, or that value, if you will, that goes to your child and helps them.
Can I share something really quick? So one of the advantages of partnering with Leadership Academy of Utah, it is a statewide virtual charter school. It has no campus. Other organizations that are doing a great job of sending funding down to families like ours in alternative ed circles, like My Tech High and others, are partnering with school districts that unlocks between $2,500 and $3,000 worth of funding for programs like this. And then it goes through various people, and then $1,100, to $1,400 down to families like ours. That's because there's $7,000 per student, roughly, in the state of Utah. My Tech High and others partner with school districts who only unlock $3,000 of that. The other $4,000 is going to pay for $100 million high schools, $50 million middle schools, and $20 million elementary schools. Leadership Academy of Utah has no facility to pay for it. Pete Jensen, the director, his whole goal, transfer as much value as possible to families like ours. And so the fundamental value proposition is very different. We're able to fund much more. We do it in a little bit of a different way. We don't do reimbursements. We don't feel like we can do that given the state code. We don't want the state on our back. We actually want to create something that's long-term sustainable and that is viable and isn't going to get anybody in trouble and isn't going to get shut down. So we're sending that value in a different way. For example, the $300 per semester, $600, we set up vendors. Any of the vendors that you already work with, karate, gymnastics, whatever, they do a little paperwork that they become an approved vendor, and we pay them directly. You don't have to pay out of pocket. There's no receipts, no reimbursement. So the goal, I think, here is to bring some new flexibility to you and to create some flexible funds, and then to increase the quality of the educational option. So one final question I want to leave you to think about is, all homeschoolers, every co-op is different, every organization is different. This is one of the best run that we've ever seen. As soon as I met Amanda and she told me what she was doing, I was like, yep, I'm going to connect with her. We're going to see, what we could do together, because I love the way that she was so competently steering this thing. But every co-op has different strengths and weaknesses, and I just invite you as parents to think about this. What do you feel a little bit of chagrin about, or a little insecurity about the gaps in your kids' education? In the past, you've been limited to the co-op that you're part of. We're trying to fix that. Without competing with what you've already got, we're bringing new value. Because LAU is now willing to receive part-time enrollment, you don't have to enroll full-time. They're willing to do that with the state. It's awesome. And the whole goal there is to help you as parents and students identify what gaps you're likely to have this next year in any of the core academic areas. Is it high school science? Is it middle school science? Is it leadership? What is it? and you can, math, you know, where is it that you feel a little chagrin? Let us fill in those gaps. Let us add a bunch of new value to you. It doesn't compete with what you're already doing, and it puts a bunch of new value on the table, including the transformational learning experiences like in the outdoors. So that's our pitch. Next Wednesday night, we're going to be doing a webinar, and to answer questions, you've got this kind of sheet to kind of give you enough information to confuse you. And then next Wednesday, we'd love to see you at the webinar so we can answer more questions and just see if this is a better value proposition for you than what you're already doing.
Can we have
Amanda, would you be willing to send out information to everybody about that webinar next week? Okay, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, you guys. All right, they have a lot of awesome things to offer. So we will be sending some more information out about that. And if we have enough interest, they were also offering, if we have a group of kids from Salt Lake Valley in our co-op or others that would like to participate in what they're calling their Innovative Learning Center, which is down in Pleasant Grove. It's really only 20-25 minutes from here. But Canyon Grove also has like a space, what is that called? The Space Center, a planetarium. They have amazing computer labs. All of those things will be available to anybody who's signed up through one of their programs, which is fantastic. We are going to move right into our Meet the Mentor night. We are super excited to introduce all of our new mentors. There are still seats towards the front. Please fill in. Feel free to come and join us. If you have a little one, pop them on your lap so we have some more chairs. This is going to be a little bit more casual. Don't feel like you have to come in and stay. If you need to go get a drink or use the bathroom, please do. But we're going to kind of run this down. Andrea's created some posters. Mentors, if you will just quickly jump up and grab the mic when it's your turn. As soon as somebody finishes, come up and give your spiel. We were going to do some Q&A. Is there anything major on anybody's mind that needs an answer right now? We're all good? Okay. Yes?
So, how do you do this? The new associate membership, so you said that they can register for elective classes, so do the associate members only register for elective classes, and how do you distinguish between elective and non-elective?
Thank you. Okay, so the question was associate membership. So associate membership is if you want to come and take an enrichment class, say choir, art, karate, 3D, animation, all of the enrichment or elective classes are after lunch. So if it's before lunch, they're considered a project, and those are not open to associate members. If it is after lunch on any given day, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and it's after the lunch block, it's considered enrichment and elective. In order to be an associate member, you just pay a $20 registration fee. That helps with the building and insurance and our website costs and those things. And then you can just register for whatever classes after lunch that you want to do. Did that answer? Okay, any other questions right off the top? Okay, we're gonna get moving. Andrea's got it posted. We're just gonna have everybody kind of go straight through.